Oh wait, are we
Invite.
muting or
What?
Yeah,
We can mute.
are we muting in Discord?
in a bit.
It's a bit.
Eh?
What?
I said, are we muting in Discord?
Yeah, I muted on Discord.
Mm.
Why did we get flattened in your screen? Is Venny in the game?
No.
He's flattened as on the screen. But you got squished.
Benny, Janine, wir sieben.
Look, he squished us.
Wait, is
My
Benny in the game
face.
yet?
He's in the game, he hasn't joined yet.
Join tram. Join game.
Well, look who finally decided to join. Irie, congrats on getting first. How you doing? I'm running all the way
I'm
over here.
here. I forgot everything.
Yes, you are today's Alpha Mousy.
She call me Mr. Bombastic.
Oh, Koro, congrats on Mr. Being Bombastic. How you doing? I have finally not fallen asleep in 2 seconds. How you doing?
And I will just go back to doing the
Nice. That's a shout
Yep.
out.
I don't listen to you in Discord.
Doing homework? How am I? I'm
That
doing
works
good.
for everybody. If you can unmute. Look at unmute yourself.
What?
I need first to turn everyone
Wait,
down.
that's not Luca. Sorry.
Yeah. Like what?
I got the wrong guy.
Who we talking to?
Oh.
Yo, Nyen, congrats on scoring. You have 1 goal. How you doing?
Is this
Nyen?
always like
Thank you for the ball.
the highest we could jump?
Yeah.
We've never been able to jump in this game.
Oh, you actually did go live, James.
Yeah.
I thought you were trolling for the game.
I'm trolling it. Congrats on getting first. I'm Maddie.
I thought that does it start like now?
I don't know.
Them recording?
Yo, Joe, congrats on scoring. If you guys hear that, that's the real me. Don't kill me, alright? Everybody's scoring today.
Okay.
I'm real.
I'm real. I think they like banned that because I remember I just kept spamming I'm real and then none of our bots
She
actually
call
said
me
I'm real.
Mr. Bombastic.
Oh, Freddie, congrats on. You are also Mr. Bombastic. Thank you so much. You don't have to. And congrats on getting 0 cheese. Get pranked. It's a daily goal or a cheese. You either make a score or you get a cheese.
Oh what?
Oh, there you go, Luca. Congrats on scoring. Yeah. I mean, you have 2 tries, so you can get a 2 cheese or 2 goals. Yeah.
Oh wait, 2?
I- Yeah. Luca, congrats on getting cheese. Look at you, you got cheese. Joe, congrats on scoring.
No.
Hey, you scored twice.
I didn't get much.
Betty, congrats on scoring. That's your first goal. Let's go, Blue Lock, Blue Lock,
Whoever.
Blue Lock. Yeah, and congrats on delivering 0 cheese. Eve, how you doing? Welcome in. You'll have no cheese. That's your first one. You didn't give me any cheese, so you have 0. Tomorrow, you will have 1.
How's your day?
How you doing, Eve? Congrats on scoring too. Oh my god, everybody was scoring today, except 1 person.
I'm sad all my like 50,000 cheese that you gave me.
It's okay. It's okay. It'll come back.
Thank you for the follow, Minnie. Thank you.
Where's your cheese? You could either goal or cheese. Look, Irie, congrats on your score today. Look at that, everybody scoring. No cheese for anybody.
He's eating it himself.
Yeah, it's my
He doesn't have
cheese.
any cheese. It's a lie.
Get pranked. It's a random. Oh, congrats on scoring again, Irie. Look at that, twice. You got 2 score.
Alright. what's the plan?
The plan
I
is
know we love some flashlight and
I
some
think
doggy.
I think we should give Luca the dog.
The doggy.
No.
There's the dog. Look, that's for you.
No.
You not like the dog, Luca?
It's so good.
No.
What is the intelligence command? It's that one where you get to check your IQ.
What's the intelligence command? It's smart and exam. But Minnie, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate
No.
it.
Congrats on 144, IB.
Drop stuff. Oh yeah.
How much longer do you have on your
And I'm having a great day. Thank you.
homework?
I hope you are.
And also Eve,
Look at it.
that art looked really good when you where you shared it.
Look
Who's
at this
showering?
raining down. It's so-
Are you almost done with the talking version?
Is it because of the dog?
Yo, 69 Riz. Someone pin that. Pin that. Yeah, and pin that.
How
This
much money do you
69
have?
Riz.
I
You
like
can
the
get
dog,
something.
Luca.
You can get a
It's okay, you have
flashlight.
16.
I think I'll buy a flashlight.
He's so cute.
I'll buy us 2 flashlights.
Oh,
Damn.
I'm sorry.
My condolences. That is not the message I wanted to pin.
Yo, where you at? Here, you might need this. Flashlight.
What's up?
Thank you,
Oh,
thank you,
yeah, I
Nyan.
gotta drop the dog to grab the flashlight.
I was trying to pin the other one. There we go.
We still got some money left.
Yeah, let's buy yeah.
45. The most we could buy is a bat, the teddy bat.
All right, I'll take the bat.
All right.
All right, Luca, let's go. Almost done. It's just putting the text, and we already have presentations. First time using InDesign. Is that what is InDesign?
Huh?
I'm asking Irie what's InDesign. Is that like a
Are you gonna-
PowerPoint thingy?
I don't know.
What's your name, Gray? I don't know. Your name's red here.
Basically, Adobe's fancy PowerPoint. Can you not use PowerPoint?
Okay, this one has
Wow,
more
do we
money,
want
so
less
obviously
resources? And the same
No.
amount of danger?
Yeah, I want that one.
work. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How much is it about to flip the switch? Oh my god.
I don't believe I've heard of that before. Is it like entirely the same as PowerPoint, or are there other things you can do that you can't do in PowerPoint? I'll be right back, guys. My laundry.
I might go the secret way.
Alright, I'm gonna go the normal way.
Front door.
Supposed to use
Do you
this a
have the
lot, but
dog?
since we... Yeah, I have the dog.
Alright.
But since I switched majors, I'm struggling. No, it's okay. You got this.
Wow, blinded. Whoa.
What was that?
Was what?
What'd you grab? It's a lot of designing base, and the best way to explain it. Ah, I see, I see. The Rattler.
I don't know if that's Danjo actually.
Your face is Chandra, remember?
Yep, that's Danjo, right? Everything's open. You went.
Yeah, do you want a
Explore
frying
this
pan? It's a weapon.
Ooh. What? Yes, I do.
Just gonna leave my items there.
In front of the door, not outside.
Nah, I am a mimic. Ah!
We'll get some items here. Danjo? There's a lot of items, actually. Danjo! So many items here. Come on.
A lot of items here.
Yeah, there's one more. We can't fit.
I don't understand you with that voice.
Toma, congrats on getting your second goal. How you doing? And thank you for the hydrate.
I don't know. I think Joe just laughed, and I don't think we had Joe.
How are you doing? Do you have any
That's
plans for the weekend? I'm gonna put this away.
you.
I love you too, Mian. Will you be resting soon? I know it's late for you. Unless you don't have work tomorrow. Let me drink water. Wait, I thought my health bar's in the bottom left. It's in the top right. I'm blocking my health. Just got home. Nice. Do you have any plans for the rest of your day?
Nancy sent. I love Latinas. Sonic.
Yes. Albert does love Latinas. Thank you for that, Yan. Ooh, what you gonna eat? I just finished eating a chicken sandwich. What did you eat?
I killed you, Janjo.
Thank you. Maybe cheese. Without me? What kind of cheese? Gouda? Swiss? Americano? Mozzarella? Oh! Thank you for the dancing toothless. It finally works. No more scamming. At least I think it works. I had to dig deep in the folder to find that back. Pinwheel. And I got a bunch of stuff. I'm going back home. What? What? What?
Birdhouse. Okay. Bye-bye.
I couldn't tell if they were real or not. I think this was like, yeah, 4 bucks. What's up? Anybody plays Risk of Rain 2? The new DLC just dropped. I haven't played it. But I saw Cat was playing it. Hello.
Oh, I think I'm being chased. I don't know.
Oh.
Joe,
Get
I'm out of here.
back here. It's almost time. Is it snowing over there? I think that was everybody, but they were all just standing there. Come here. mean, we already have $300. Huh?
You know, I'm just gonna go. Luca,
Yeah.
are you a mimic?
Are you a mimic?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
What's so funny?
Yeah, just not saying anything.
What do you mean? I said outstanding man Joe. Fanny, how did you die?
Sure. The electrocution thing.
You dropped your flashlight.
I did
Next.
not know.
Congrats
that
on
that.
scoring. How you doing?
You know those sparky things that are coming out of the.
You mean the
whatever's on
water?
ceiling? That was water.
Yeah, that gives you toxic.
I got electrocuted.
What? I'm confused. I'm doing alright. It's not 2 p.m. yet.
It was like,
How are you?
let's just say this is the light bulb, and it brings out some sparks going down, and I was just under it. I didn't know that you take damage.
So
from
you
it.
just sat under it?
Not really. I was just going around, blah blah blah, and I died.
Hmm. Understandable. Beepy. Me too. Yes, how is the sun and
Well,
Papa?
look here. There's only one good choice.
Vinny, your dad's here.
Dad?
What?
My dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Papa. Did you get the milk?
I think that's the only good one.
We're
Yeah.
definitely going.
Yes, the father has arrived.
Well,
And she's Eepy. There was like barely any mimics, and Vinny still somehow died.
Hey, I killed one.
Oh no.
Yeah, but you didn't even die to a mimic. You just died to
Mimicking
a
you.
water bottle.
I didn't even.
Wait, what?
It's not
Oh,
water
no, no,
bottle.
no.
Water bottle.
It's like, look, like this. These light
Yes,
bulbs
that's true.
with sparks coming out. I was just under it.
This is my grandson. He doesn't know orange water is no good.
It's not water. There's sparks.
It's a water. I'm going back. Forgot to put the dog.
Hello.
Is it orange water, orange juice? That's just Fanta. Or high C. What other orange juice? Or OJ? I'm gonna be lost. I'm so far in. Actually, the dog's still barking. Have you had lunch today yet, Nix? Or is now lunchtime? Help. 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 I need help. Debating on eating? What are you gonna eat? BOGO spinted? Oh my god, it works. BOGO spinted. Oh, hello, hello. Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? What?
Ooh, ooh,
Come
might have
follow
to
me.
clean up a lot from that, Luca.
Follow me. This way. Follow me.
Oh, there's
Follow
actually
me.
there's never anything there. when
That's
I-
a fake person. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Oh my god, dinosaur soup. Whatever you do, don't pick me up. Hey, hey. No,
Okay.
no,
Oh, that was a.
no.
I can tell this.
I tried to swing the dinosaur suit. I'm dead. Not hungry, so maybe no food.
Hello.
What?
Welcome to
What are
the
you gonna
bed.
eat? How did everybody die? What happened? Oh, it's just me and you.
Yeah, it's just.
Wait, was that a mimic who got dragged by
oh,
the guy?
I died from a mimic because Venny and I thought it was you pranking us because we were talking.
I was talking the whole time. I think the dude grabbed the mimic, and then I thought it was you.
So I can confirm Joe died. That means
Ooh, oatmeal. What you gonna put on the oatmeal? Got brown
every time I
sugar,
hear her, that's a
some
mimic for sure.
some
let's see.
oatmeal
I was gonna try that.
with honey.
What happened here?
We died.
Holy. Jackpot though.
Is caramel apple oatmeal? Ooh, that sounds good. Vinny, it's toxic rain, and he's just sitting in the he's just sitting in the rice.
No, no.
Yeah. Do you want a frying pan? Hey, you want a frying pan? Congrats on getting your second. Hey, I didn't finish talking. Get back in there. I love you too. I love you too.
Teddy bat. Crap.
Vinny, smack him.
No, don't do this.
Vinny, smack him.
Does smacking the monkey even do anything?
Yeah, it stops him
Are
from grabbing
kidding
you.
me?
This guy. We found out last time.
Stupid monkey.
I taught him how to smack him. He was with me. What is that? That's the Ice Age man. Americano.
Oh, oh.
Wow, that was me and you and that person.
Wow.
Is that
You
Joe?
can charge it in the place too. Okay, that's good to know.
Americano. That's just the Ice Age. You can kill anything here besides the Elephant Man. Jenny's about to be toxic.
I don't get a dog anymore.
I don't even know what he said. Listen for the squeaks.
Oh. I hear the doggy.
Yep, you do hear the doggy.
Time to go.
They know.
Time to go.
It's still raining. He needs to go.
What is he doing?
I don't know. He's shooting the thing. He's about to be toxic all the way.
Yeah.
You gotta get the dino
Wait,
first.
so I thought that the mimics still like have the last thing you carried.
No, wait.
God.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
No, it's just random what they carry. Oh, he's going all the way to the basement.
Oh, okay.
And he's going the wrong way.
Luca?
What happened? Eating a How are you doing? Do you have any plans for the weekend? Hey, you got any plans? Where you going? Oh, go.
I have plans.
What are your plans?
Hello?
It's almost time. It's almost time. Get over here. Then he got grabbed again.
Oh no.
Why did I see the dinosaur running by itself? Will you be resting soon? I know it's late for you. It's toxic rain. They need to hide. They're about to
No, why it's
die.
raining?
Unless you don't have work tomorrow.
What the hell?
No.
Do you have any plans for the rest of your day?
Hello. We got so many items by the front door.
They're both about to die
It's
from
very
toxic.
Okay.
Oh god. Oh, okay. I think Luca's gonna leave.
No, wait! I'm
Oh.
just.
Penny was right there, Luca.
I'm right there!
I didn't
I'm
know.
right there, Luca!
Penny, why'd you have to sound sus?
How'd you get it?
Changed my breathing.
Penny's like, there's a lot to do in the front, guys. Like, not an imposter.
I'm 2 meters away. I'm 2 meters away.
Yeah, but Luca was surrounded by 2 other mimics, and then you showed up and be like, there's a lot of loot in the front, guys.
Well, I was the only guy with the dinosaur.
Nah, that could be anybody.
How should I know?
Penny, why didn't you smack the big guy? You could have.
There.
That's how he stops you from grabbing you.
What do I do?
You smack the big guy before he grabs you.
Oh, really?
I taught you that last time. What do you
I
mean?
thought he would grab you no matter what. I forgot.
No, you can also do it when people get grabbed. You can smack them off them. But you have to be quick because he's fast.
Wait, I forgot how to do that. Oh, never. Dang it.
You
4.
maybe knew I figured for that raw paper.
Peace.
Alright, I'm ready.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go. What? You're defect?
There's so much loot in front of the door, too. Wait, do we have the doggo still?
What?
Do we lose the
No,
doggo?
because you didn't make it.
No.
No. Not even the flashlight and the bat. We have no weapon.
We just gotta find some. Thank you for the cheek rub.
I bet Luca's happy the dog isn't here.
Congrats on getting your cheese. Ionic, how you doing? Happy Friday. Do you have any plans for the weekend?
That's probably why he left me.
Yes, I am Mr. Get In Man. Now get in. It's time. Hey, we're gonna be playing with soccer soon. Like a few. By a few, I mean like later.
Yes.
I just go in a circle. I did. You ever played this game before? Playing that before that one? Well, nap now, because by the time you wake up, well, she's probably going to be on. Hello? Hello? Get. Oh, assisting on. Alright, see you later. Yes. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know if she announced it yet, so I won't say what's happening. Thank you for the pickle, Nito. How you doing? Thank you for the nickel, the pickle. Are you ready for tomorrow, Nito? Yes. Were we doing regular or night rain? I mean, I'm good for either one. I prefer regular. Yes. I did kind of miss the regular because I got that weapon that you got from the Volcano Man, and I love it. It's too good. Hello? 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 Venny has died. I don't even think they understood what I said. Now this is where I troll. Right? Just need to find where they're at. How long are you able to go for tomorrow, Nito? For the gaming. Don't know? Sounds good, that's fine. Probably till dinner time. Oh, perfect. It's like a few hours. Till lunchtime for me, and then I'll go out and get some lunch. I walked over here to drop off my items. I didn't even drop it off.
Oh, hello?
Oh,
Where's Joe?
you can't trick us, Janjo. I already know. I already know your trick.
What do you know?
You swapped your items.
Because mimics can't drop your item.
No, they can't. It's new update. No update. They can change.
Yeah.
Yep, they can also reply to you now.
Oh, okay.
I'm a mimic.
Okay.
Come here.
Hey, do you know where Venny went?
No, I thought it was with you guys.
Oh,
I haven't
he
seen him.
was.
Yeah, I went to the right and then just kept going right.
Oh, okay.
Don't run away.
That's not a Benny.
You there.
Oh,
Alright, I'm out of here. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Daniel?
Alright,
killed you, Daniel.
I'm out of here.
Get over here.
Okay, good.
oh. He's
That guy's a fake one. That one's a fake one. That guy's a fake.
Should we
Luca,
get the
where
dog
are you?
back? That means
Luca,
Luca.
Luca, we're getting on. We're leaving Venny. We're leaving Venny. Get in the train.
Luca, get over here.
Yeah,
There's you.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah, I think he died because he spoke and then you spoke in his voice. He changed.
What? He died?
so
say
sorry,
you killed me, guys.
Danny, what
You
happened?
killed me.
What happened?
I didn't do anything.
You. You tell me.
What do you mean we killed you?
I just came in as well the door was closed.
It says you were deceased. That means you were dead.
I was killed.
By who?
It was an accident. So Benny and I went up to this like mysterious door thing and I didn't know what it was. So I pressed it. I was like, what's going on? I don't see anything opening or whatever. And I look around and I'm like, what? There's nothing. And then Benny was gone and I'm like, huh? And then I hear Luca. Nothing
You
was
were laughing
even
at me
open.
even.
Yeah, it was so funny to see you get scratched by the hallway
The
again.
second time, by the way.
Yeah,
Luca, you remember this, right? You did this to me.
I
should
didn't
probably
know Benny. I was
Oh, but the beat though, it's pretty good.
That's what Chuya said.
I remember that.
Oh, good morning, Eris. Welcome in. And thank you for the follow, Jubin. Should we go, guys? We should
I mean,
go.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing else to do. Actually, I want to stay.
Sorry. We'll get over that.
Dang
Oh,
it.
now.
Now the beat's not
I'll
dropping.
sell some stuff.
Alright, let's get out of here. I think we only need 190.
Oh, that's the fan effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I hear the mic, not mic, the mime say it, I was like, oh, Judge's mic must be busted.
Yeah, my mic's busted, guys. Yeah, we only need 190, and then we can save the rest of the money for the next round.
What?
Just-
I don't understand you.
Speak English.
We can only do 190, and then we can save the others for the next round because it carries over as long as we don't die.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. So you can
Oh, the
carry
toilet
it.
is exactly 10. Hold on.
Hey, but we need
Hold on,
that seat.
Almost forgot to follow you. Just woke up and remembered. Oh, no
For
worries.
what?
Susan.
Hey, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with
Appreciate
it?
the follow. We're
Stop right there,
so
stop right
close to 2.2K.
Stop right there.
What?
Put that away. Put that away. The toilet seat's only
other way.
$10. And we're selling the toilet. Oh, we already did. Never mind.
Okay. I'll put everything back.
Yep, put it back.
Oh my god.
Betty!
Oh shit. Oh.
Bet, you good? Betty!
And I. Okay.
I swear
What?
it wasn't me this time. It wasn't me.
Well, I mean, he fell over.
Oh, there's stuff.
Yeah, there's stuff here, guys.
Oh, loot.
Oh, free loot!
Loot.
Alright, what are we buying? Who needs flashlights? We bought the chicken,
Oh, no,
and I don't know what it does.
That's kind of funny. Hold on, let me screenshot that.
You can record that. Actually, we are recording that. What am I talking about? Jenny, welcome in. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Do you have any plans for the weekend? Do you want to buy a shotgun? Actually, we have no money.
Yes.
We have zero funds. We spent it all on
We
repairs.
might need.
Do we
Oh, you
want
can't
to sell some?
anymore?
No, we can still sell stuff. If you want to buy like a flashlight.
Yeah.
Doing good. Nice. Have you eaten?
Yeah, I probably should.
Yeah, if y'all want some. Might stay home or might go out to my friends. Nice. Well, make sure to take care if you go out.
Insufficient fund. Damn, $25. That's expensive.
Yeah, well, this thing's $9. I can sell this. You can buy it. There you go.
Okay.
All right, let's get out of here. Vinny, let's go.
Any. Not that you won't.
Vinny, what are you doing? We're leaving, Vinny. All right, we're leaving ya.
Benny, come on. Quit slacking off.
Bye, Vinny. Hey, why are you chatting? Why aren't you walking with us?
Right.
What happened?
The second time, guys.
Didn't even do anything this time, so I'm innocent.
I wasn't even
Well,
here.
applauding.
I mean, I didn't do nothing at any time.
Exactly.
So, I'm the only one who didn't kill you.
You were there for the laughs.
Yeah, you just
were
watched.
laughing at me.
You overlaps.
For the laughs, you're part of the crime.
It's happened. You about it.
You are guilty for laughing. You did it. It's because you laughed.
Laughing is a crime.
I did nothing.
Nope, you laughed apparently. Solid evidence right there.
Ooh, this
It's
one's
the crime to laugh.
A lot of danger.
danger.
but triple resources.
Oh, we gotta get
What do
the
we do with
triple
this one?
resource. Triple resource.
A lot of monsters.
It's low toxicity too. Yeah, but low toxicity, so.
Yeah, but we have like triple the monsters. I mean, I'm fine with toxicity because we can get that back, but we can't get our health back. Alright, I got a weapon with me, don't worry.
Oh. But there's a plunger and a chair.
I got the perfect weapon. I'm ready.
Eh, I'll have the chair. Best weapon.
22 risk. Your risk has increased by 6. And your IQ went up by 151. Let's go. In like that short 30 minutes. Wait, where are they? That's a C. Is that passing?
Yes.
Guys, you gotta see.
Oh, thank you. Have you noticed our models are kind of...
Yeah, we're inside the wall.
Ooh. Yeah?
Welcome to the
Right.
red room.
The new doggo alert.
I'm out of here.
Nobody wants to listen to my performance. You passed, let's go. You barely passed, Ian.
Congrats
You
on
too. Welcome
passing.
in. It's been a minute. How have you been? Happy weekends to you.
Happy weekend.
How do you play Mimesis? Well, if you played Lethal before, it's like that, but now we have like monsters mimicking you and all.
It's not exactly how lethal is.
Yeah, not explain that. Well, look, this the concept of grabbing items, putting them here, and leaving. Selling
Yeah,
them.
but lethal, the mimic mod it's a mod. The mimic one. It's not
I
part of the
say,
regular
but in
game.
here you have more mimics. It's mimic focused.
Yeah. There you go.
You need to be able to read whether if that's the real person or not.
Sometimes it's hard.
Okay.
You made it.
Okay.
Angel.
What?
Yes.
What'd you say?
You make it harder by pretending to be a mimic.
Well,
about
no. Makes it easier. Because then you can tell which one is a mimic and which one isn't.
We'll have to be able to read harder. Dang. We didn't
90
get
to
that far.
94 is an A minus. What? For me, it was 90, 93 and
For
to
me,
90.
80 is an A minus.
Damn, what the hell?
Minus. We have it like a minus and a plus.
Well, for me, all the way till 60 is D minus. It goes by like tens.
That's a D.
That's a D minus.
Thought
So
that's a
from
C.
69,
That's a D minus.
69 to is D plus, and then regular 65 is
I
D, and
wonder why they
then
thought of putting it at 60.
and don't worry about it. and then 60 is a D minus, and then anything below that is an F.
Oh.
That's a fake. That's a fake.
Get her.
That's a
You're
fake.
the doggy.
Yeah, hear this.
Wait, what?
You hear this? No, wait.
I got you.
Oh, thank you, Janjo.
My rattle. Oh, they died right here. What? How did they die?
Dang, I would have died too.
I don't know how much more swings I got. Because I don't think this has a lot of durability.
I think they.
I'm not so
lose it.
smart. No, I don't. Everybody can be smart in their own ways. Yeah, what Nix is saying right there.
So many things open here. They explored this place. I'm
I
sure.
don't know what y'all mean. That was wait, Joe. That was you. Benny, we killed Joe.
Nah, that's not her. He's joking.
She's Joeing. Joe, that can't be you. There's no
Can't bring
doggy.
this fish home because it's a big item.
There's no, that was not you, Joe. Because when I picked up the item, the item combusted, which is only what mimics have. So that was a mimic. Nice try.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
Nice
point,
try. I played this game before, like twice.
Oh, who's that? That guy's running.
Who goes there?
There's two.
Get
Wait,
pranked.
Joel died.
That's Luca, he's turning around.
Speaking of getting a birdhouse.
Yeah, we can leave. We can leave. We're ready.
are you
Press the
charging
button.
Flashlight?
Leave, leave, leave. I'm leaving.
Oh.
I'm leaving.
Or is
Hey,
it
Luca,
like-
you're out there. Wait, Luca's coming.
No, go, please.
Why did you not leave? Why are you turning around? Fanny, I thought you said leave.
Scared of her laugh. It's
Scared of that. No, Joe, you don't get the cookie. The cookie's for the frog that's not here. And doesn't exist.
Oh.
Here's your flashlight.
I didn't know what it was. I was just
It's okay.
Just me and my plumber. Ew.
Here's your flashlight over here.
Plumber? Plunger.
Oh, I
sorry.
didn't read that it said that. My bad.
Welcome in, Julia.
I can't believe y'all killed me.
Yeah, you heard the doggy. We had to exterminate you. On Luca's orders.
We knew
What?
he's guilty of something.
I can't believe you, Luca. You got me killed.
You did this, Luca.
Look, I'm so confused. What?
You made us kill her.
It's time to stop.
I wasn't
What?
talking about the doggy in the
That-
game. I was
that's
talking
12
about
o'clock.
Julia.
Yeah.
Nah.
Here, what'd I say?
Hydrate and stretch.
You said you hear the dog.
Mm-hmm.
You said you hear the dog, but there was no dog. It's basically, it's fake.
No.
Yeah, there was no dog. The only dog was inside me, barking to kill
Put it
that
next to
mimic.
you.
Yeah.
Right, so where are we going with this one?
I think this one's good because the other one just murders us.
We can play it safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
We got
I mean, we
lots of
already
stuff
have.
here.
Yeah, we already have enough, but we just need to get more
Let's play it
so we
safe.
can.
We play it safe.
I still have this thing. I don't know how much more durability it has. I'm gonna swap to the pinwheel. Oh, we're here now.
We got a flashlight this whole time?
Yeah, that was Joe's.
Yeah, that was mine.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you gonna keep
Yeah,
it?
because you died.
Wow, you're just gonna keep it from her? Wow, look at this guy.
You want the flashlight?
No,
That,
no, no.
that was her flashlight.
No, I got my plunger.
we dropped it,
That's
Joe.
okay.
Joe, grab it. It's yours. Grab it's yours.
Yeah,
Joe.
it's in.
What the hell?
Fanny, it's a dead end.
I know, I led you guys to a dead end.
It should be over here.
There's no map.
Yeah, this is the
Seen this place.
tram. We never got this far.
Trash.
What do you mean?
What?
We've gone further than this before. I think.
What?
Whee!
We've gone further than this before. Oh, you mean in this run? Oh, I get it.
Yeah. It's the first time we're here.
Watch out for bombs. I've been in.
No,
here
what about
before. Yeah, I would like some light though.
Yeah, that's why I said Joe to grab it.
Am I? What?
Where'd Venny go?
Grab what?
I got a
okay.
megaphone.
You got a McBone?
Megaphone.
Oh my god, it's the best weapon in the game.
Can I hit with a megaphone? No, you can't.
No.
Just toggle
Why does this
on and
look
off.
like that? This looks like that one game. Where
Exit
it's like
7?
got 8 levels or whatever, and you have to do that.
Exit 7. I ran into a bear.
Yeah.
We left Benny. He went the other way.
I got 4
Oh
items.
no.
Never mind. We found Benny. Oh, never mind. Benny found us.
Oh, crap.
Oh man. Yo, who's this
Where's
person?
the way home?
Who's this guy with us?
I'm ready. Hey,
Oh, this guy right here. This guy. Who's that?
only Joe has the flashlight.
That's a mimic. It's backing up. It's afraid of us. We outnumber it.
Do it even. I'm gonna leave.
We need to chase her down.
Okay, that's you.
Chase her down.
Get her. Get her.
Get her. I got her. You're under arrest.
Oh, wait, who's that one? Guys?
He's fake. He's fake. Get him. Only we can dab. Yeah, that's not Luca. Luca can't dab. That's impossible.
Bye bye. There we go.
Oh my god. I actually got nervous when you walked in. I thought you were gonna strangle me.
I don't know what you're saying. You were chipmunk mode.
Am I still a chipmunk?
Yeah, you're the chipette right now. I don't know what their names are from the movie.
That's not the way. That's
Sometimes you can open these. Where am I? Is this part of the new map? Oh, I got it. I need to just head back. I think it was this way. I just kept going left, so I gotta go right.
Look who it is. Oh, nice, nice costume. You need some light? We got you.
Where's everybody else at?
I don't know. I saw Joe earlier.
Do you have room for this?
I'm full. I'm gonna bring all the
Oh.
items back. I think that's fair.
Okay.
There's a lot outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be a shortcut to the right. To the right.
Oh, shortcut?
Oh shoot, toxic
that?
rain. We gotta be
We
quick.
got a toxic warning.
It's raining. It's
Ow.
toxicing us. Yeah, and then the thing should be right there.
This is faster? Is it really a shortcut?
Yeah, it's a shortcut. It do be raining cheese. How close are you to finishing homework? Ivy.
Good luck with homework.
Here, you go that way, I go this way. See, test out the speed.
Okay.
I made a wrong turn. Oh my god, congrats on 20 million watch streak, Irie. That's huge. Ooh, it's just walking over here. Hello? You're fake. I was having dinner, so I'm not done yet. I don't mess up in 30 minutes. Nice. That's good.
Daniel.
Yeah? Hello? Hello? Venny. Hello?
I see you texting, Joe. I reckon
Hello?
that's a sign you died.
Hello? 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 You not hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I was talking to you the whole time. You were running away.
But no, well, I know you were being quiet.
I was talking. I was saying hello.
Maybe it's
If-
the rain.
No, you were speaking through the spirit box. But you're louder, but you can't hear me.
Drop an item, Luca. Okay.
That's a fake. They can drop items now.
I think we're good though. Like we're rich.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
How much money do we have?
Enjoy that.
We have $250.
250. What makes you think?
The repair cost minus the scrap value.
Ah. I see. That's a lot.
Yeah, we can buy one shotgun with that. What, you left?
I can't believe this, Benny.
You left Joe behind.
I did not.
I don't know
kill
what
you.
happened to Joe. He backed me in because he
Oh.
scared me, and then I was on a landmine and I died.
That was
Wow.
not my fault. You stepped
You
on it.
killed Joe.
You
Caught in
didn't swear
4K?
I was there until after I died. You're like, oh,
Hey, I would
someone
have known as
took
well. I actually
mine.
didn't know that was a mine.
Me neither.
Well, I taught you that last time. What do you mean?
I know.
Everything I taught you, you just don't remember.
I forgot everything.
Fair enough. I don't remember anything about this game.
I can't believe it.
I mean, I only played the 2 times.
I know, me too.
I played it one time with them.
Yeah, and I taught you
With
everything that
secret
round.
Corridor.
I taught
What do
you
we do here?
everything you know. And you pick one more?
Toxicity.
Maximum resources. Baby.
We don't need any more resources.
No, okay,
We need more
should we not
resources.
fight enemies?
That's just 2. That's fine. Yeah, get us more money. Stuff in toilet.
Call and leave.
We're back in the regular map.
We'll leave if we have to.
Yep. It's a bit foggy.
Hey, you're speed running. You've been using that item too, Janjo.
Yeah, it spins.
Like, what does it do?
It spins when you walk. Look.
It?
Yeah,
I
look.
know, but yeah,
It's
tried it before.
it's for the stream so they can look at it. When it's spinning.
Okay.
There's nothing
it act
happening. They
as a
can
weapon,
look
please?
at it. It's a fidget spinner. It's perfect.
Nice. Okay, I'm
Is
one
that-
item away from.
Is that good or bad?
What? It's good.
No, spray it.
That's fine.
Is it water? Okay, so you can clean toxic with that.
Oh.
See, Nyx agrees. Not much is happening, so I'm having them spin the fidget spinner.
I'm gonna go out, put down the
It's a
items.
hypnotized machine.
Get hypnotized. Okay.
I'm getting hypnotized as well. Into a toilet seat. Sorry, no more hypnotization.
I'll leave everything outside. Just letting you know. Whoa. Any more inside here?
I didn't get to check that far. You are not a mimic. That's the mimic check. That's fine. I'm almost back at the truck. Yeah. Get hypnotized.
It's fake. Get her.
No, no.
That's a real her. What do you mean?
Oh, really?
She was just
She's a
talking to me.
doggy.
Yeah, she said that
She's a
earlier.
doggy.
Why are you hitting people?
Oh,
This guy just wants to
Why are
kill
you
somebody.
pretending? That's why you can die easily. Why you're hunting for fakes? Why try to be fake?
What? I hear a doggy.
You say you hear a doggy, but we don't have a doggy.
I don't think they reuse the same lines.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I'm Addy. I don't know what he does.
Right.
I don't think I want to find
I
out.
don't know what he does as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
That
chill him.
owl creeps me the fuck out. I can't.
He's supposed to be creepy.
Oh, there's a back exit.
Yeah, but it's raining right now. I'm gonna hide inside. It's storming
Oh yeah.
acid.
Oh. I just not got one.
Too long for that one.
Yeah, it's okay though.
I was
Oh,
like,
we have
who?
the spray bottles. Y'all need to get sprayed?
Spray me. I need a spray.
That's not much.
Thank you. I mean, it's supposed to be a little bit.
Ah. Luke, blink if you're in trouble.
It's only $5. I switched it and got a 50% alcohol.
Nice. We can keep that,
Oh,
right?
Well, yeah, but it's not worth anything. It's just to heal your poison. Toxic.
mhm.
Okay, what's the cue for Luca here?
I'm
When
gonna
it hit
change
18?
exchange your sneaker.
No, it's toxic rain again.
Yeah, Joe just went out.
What? When you started raining.
Yeah. I was saying. She went off when it started raining.
Hmm. So for next Thursday, what are we doing?
We're playing Mimesis, right?
Yeah, but how
That's the
many
one with,
people?
Oh, what's the limit?
I don't know. I didn't read the thing.
Oh, she walking.
What's the password?
Yes.
That's a
Okay.
fake. She responded.
Pineapple.
See, the voice is cracking. That's not real.
Wrong.
My voice is cracking?
It's a fake. She's using.
Fake.
They're using AI to
Y'all,
talk to
that
us.
owl-
Did you
Yeah,
hear the
uh-huh.
doggy?
What
Yeah, I
owl?
did.
There's no owls here.
Fake.
The owl was camping the thing. I went back in and he was still there. I'm scared.
Ooh.
See, that's not Joe. That's scared. She just said her name.
Luca. What?
She said her name is scared. Look at her. She's ready to leave.
Oh, yeah. True.
She's stealing my
I'm
car.
out of here.
She stole my car.
I'm out of here.
It's raining acid. Where you going?
I know. That's why I came back.
Raining acid with that cardboard car.
My car is all rusted now. Look at the front.
Yeah. This is what-
Bruh. That wasn't there before you. Where's your insurance?
It's always been like that. What do you mean? It's always like.
Nah. I fixed that earlier. Why is there Patrick in the backseat? Oh, look at the scrap value. Look how much.
Which one?
Oh. Well, I was trying to.
Sounds funny.
Oh, it's already 18, guys. I reckon. Time
Here,
to
put
go.
that down and look
I
at the
think
value.
Luca's gone.
Joe, put it down and look at the value.
Oh. Oh. Wait.
Oh, look at the value.
65?
No, I meant the scrap value in the wall.
65?
Ooh, that's a lot.
In the wall.
Wait, what?
Oh my god, look at the scrap value.
In the wall.
Oh.
We have enough. But what if he's coming though? What if he
Whoa,
arrives
sparkly. Oh
at
my
the
God.
last second, like you, and then we left him?
Let's go now. Leave Joe.
What if she's holding something?
Okay, I'm going. I'm going. Oh, it's raining.
Yeah.
Okay, we should
All right.
probably go.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 seconds,
Luca.
Luca. Oh, never mind. He's pulling. No seconds for you. Damn, you left him behind. Look, Venny deceased him.
Dead.
Top friendly fire again, Venny.
Stop friendly fire.
What if-
This guy don't
Joe
stop. He
tried
just
to be a mimic.
keeps smacking everybody. Alright, so we buying shotguns, right?
Yes.
Time to sell.
Oh, we got.
These low value ones we can turn into thingies.
Mm-hmm.
Should we keep the fish then?
That's not a low value.
65.
Low value is in like $5.
Well, I was putting in the
We-
toilet.
No, I'm saying we keep the low value ones so we can turn them into the detox juice.
Oh. got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can still sell.
Yeah. I was gonna
Everything.
Put the clock in the toilet. That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm gonna put my spork in
We
there.
need detox right now.
Do you need to detox?
I was asking you if you need detox.
No, I'm just saying for the future. Like, I got the bottle here already.
Because if you have at the moment toxicity, you can't shower.
You can't shower?
You can't shower, and it will lower the toxicity.
Alright, guys, take a shower. We still need to sell like 200 if you want to buy the shotgun. What the?
I mean, I'm good without, but that's up to y'all.
Well, I want to try the shotgun.
$22
I don't
for
need one.
Damn.
The shotgun. Why haven't we sold the bass? Alright, do we want to sell this, repair
Selling
this first?
everything.
Yeah, let's just keep this for now. Joe, we're gonna
Okay.
pull the lever. You should probably get out.
Oh,
What?
you
We're
would
gonna
warn
pull the lever.
Joe about this? You would warn
Look out, Joe.
about
We're
this?
pulling the lever.
Not me. Not me.
What?
I would be in that car.
I mean,
you guys didn't even make sure.
You didn't say anything.
When Jenny
You
said he was he will level up.
Yeah, I said I was pulling it, and you
Let me drop the things.
you ran in there. I kinda warned already. Alright, let's
Now
buy
you
the
know
shotgun.
lever.
I said I'm pulling the lever.
Pull the lever, Crumb.
I have a shotgun. How much money do we have? 69.
Yeah, don't buy anything.
We can't buy anything, guys. I think we're good on money.
I think we need the doggy though.
No,
I'm gonna-
Manny,
I'm gonna buy more shotgun shells.
look at our man. No.
No, Vanny, why'd you buy the dog?
I did not do that. That was Andrew.
Vanny. Alright, I am now the Terminator. I can kill anything you want me to. Do we want more flashlights?
Manny.
We can get more flashlights. I have the
Yeah,
shotgun.
you're right. We have a flashlight here.
Well, does anybody else want some or no? We still have like $30.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, I'm actually gonna swap up my shotgun in case I shoot it.
I hate you.
Yay! Puppy.
Alright, let's go if you guys don't want to buy
Hey.
anything.
No, bring it back. Look at how much money did we spend on that. You would.
That's $15.
Don't mind me just organizing.
It's
things
not
in here.
Turkey Friday, it's Fries Friday. I got a mail.
Fries Friday.
Fries Friday.
I like how y'all kept exactly one pair of shoes.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we need the juice, we got the juice.
Did you? Oh my god. You grouped up all the megaphones. How many do we need?
We need all of them so we can all just scream when we walk in.
I was putting all the same items together.
Well, I'm Freddy.
It's organized. Okay.
Yeah. As long as we don't die, they'll still be organized.
Whoa.
What happened?
I'm
Oh,
just
yeah,
looking at
what-
the difficulty.
Well, I have a gun.
I just know something.
What?
What happened?
I just saw the thing in the group chat from earlier.
I did not make the shot. I got
No,
it.
that's
feel
you.
like we
D-
should
that's you
do
dunking it in and making
the
it.
big resource wedding, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, might as well, because y'all have weapons and stuff now, right? Does this count?
Yo,
Oh, not that. Wow.
Okay, Shinzo.
What?
Joe said you all have weapons.
What happened?
And you all say, okay, Shinzo.
Yeah, I got weapon. We're ready.
You have the shotgun.
Oh.
I'm ready.
I mean, we have rattles. That'll work, right?
Yeah, that works. To knock them off of you.
Okay.
I have nothing.
For babies.
Oh.
Ow. Friendly fire.
All right, I have like no inventory room. I have the pinwheel and the shotguns. If I die, you need to grab thing.
Want to find out? You can
Oh,
give that to
gosh.
me.
Oh, wait. I always forget which. Oh, wait. There we go.
Let's
Damn it.
go.
I lost again.
Puppy pics. Go, go, go.
Oh, my bad. Attack.
We're not using the megaphones. There's no battle roar.
What for? But you're right. It would have been perfect if all of us had.
We. Yeah, but I had my special.
I mean, we will probably
Hit
find
mistakes.
6
There's 6 more
This is
megaphones.
Luca?
Yeah.
I will have to.
Who else could it
Usually-
Actually, I think that's Joe.
usually we go to the secret area.
Whose laundry's done? That was my
Hold
laundry.
on. I'm sorry. Luca.
Hello, your laundry's done. Please come back. If you guys see an imposter, I'm gonna shoot him.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's Joe.
Watch out for mines.
Hey Joe, what's up? Me?
Nice.
Yes, fish.
There's a bunch.
Oh, look out.
Yeah,
Little
this is the one I
Samsung.
died to.
I don't think it's a Samsung thing. I thought it reminded me of Japanese laundry. There's a frying pan in there. Weapon. Can I get my jacket from laundry? We still gotta put it in the dryer. That's a mine. Back up. Come this way.
Okay. There's a mine.
Yeah. Yeah, but where?
It's over there near the
Oh, it's-
plant. Are you real?
Oh, oh.
Are you real?
Ow.
She's not real. Guys, back up. Guys, she's not real. Is my mic on? Hello? Luca, she's gonna get you.
And I turned no.
Luca,
Luca, you good?
run!
Luca?
No.
What?
Yeah.
Who goes there?
Luca died.
Oh, there's actually something. There's never anything there when I check
Yep,
it.
that's fake.
Hello.
I think Luca died.
Hello, this. Where's Luca? I gotta find him.
It's always Luca now.
Could be Samsung appliances. True. Maybe this way. You have the flashlight. I can't see.
Mine.
What is that?
Oh crap!
Oh! He's still alive. Benny, run. Benny! Benny, run! A bonsai tree. There's mines everywhere. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, fish?
Benny's over there.
Okay.
Oh.
I just
My inventory's full, but there was rabbits here.
yeah. We have 10,000 mines and
Yeah, there's mines everywhere. I don't know where Benny is. A poop bag. Amina, thank you for the daily cheese. How you doing? And thank you for the email. How did your stream go? What is that? Is that an item too? It is. There's a mug behind you. How was your
for
peak? Yeah, Benny died. Everything, all this stuff's here. My inventory's full though, so I have to go back.
Yeah, same. Did you find a
I
mine?
had fun a while. It has been a while per peak. I'm about to play it later. I hear the dog. Yeah, I'm playing some peak later.
Oh God.
Are you gonna have some dinner soon?
This is the deepest life I have ever.
It's a lost wallet. You had enough foods? That's good. That's good. What do you have planned for the rest of the night? And that's true about Samsung. I think it may have been a Samsung product from the laundry that I had. Are you getting healed by that?
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? I traded that for 1%. I lost my pinwheel because... Wait, this street sign is a weapon. I'm gonna detox if you want to get a shoe and detox yourself.
Yeah.
Here we go, up to chilling. I hope you have energies to play more games. Yes. I don't know how many of us is playing later, but if there's room. Let me see. There we go. Yeah, I still haven't gotten to the new biome either. Even though the update came out like a month ago. I've been playing Trials.
Oh no, oh no.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
Like this, these light bulbs.
Ready?
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know, completely fake.
Don't punch me. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. No, my
Yeah,
shotgun.
they just got in. And then
Oh,
two
no.
bunnies back.
Why is the bunny here? My body, the doggy.
Just entered the place.
Oh, he gotta get out of there.
Get juked in here.
He's gonna get grabbed right now. He needs to leave. Why is he dapping?
Yo, you died, right?
He's about to get grabbed.
Wait. Can emote this?
I told you they can emote. That's been a thing.
It's new.
He's dabbing on the map.
Why is Darth Vader here?
No.
No, we lost all our money. My shotgun. Benny, why'd you have to die?
Honestly, they shouldn't do one-hit KOs.
I mean, that wasn't a one-hit KO. It got hit twice.
And
Oh, look
one-hit
at all of
KOs
our
are
organized stuff on the ground.
crazy. No. No.
You did this. You died to the bunny. I told you to run.
I was gonna hit it back.
What?
It hit me with just one hit. I mean, it just killed me with one hit.
Why'd you let it hit you?
I got a frying pan. I thought, yeah, I thought.
That thing was muscular and huge.
I was able to make it cry and run away the first time.
See, look, Joel made her run
Then
away.
it came back for vengeance and then killed me.
She didn't run
Second
away.
time.
She tried to fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I shot it with a shotgun and it didn't do anything, so I ran away. Because that's the only logical thing. If you shoot a shotgun at an animal and it keeps coming at you.
He's just alive forever.
Well, I lived longer than
guy,
what
though.
happened to you.
Okay, well, you got me there. Well, how can we recover this? We definitely need more resource.
We need to speed run the
Yeah,
next
Go
area.
hard on it. Let's go hard.
You want to do new biome,
we
then
both
don't do
have the
Tenant Rainbows
same
thing.
thing,
Okay, thank
so-
you for letting us know.
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend.
Right, go, go, go.
65 Brit, hey, that's pretty good. That's better than someone who had 16 earlier.
Oh, I was supposed to go this way. Oh. I took a major detour last
That's-
time. Oh
It's
my-
okay.
Where did you go?
Yo, 205 IQ.
I don't remember.
You're tied for like top IQ today with someone else. Very smart. You are very smart. Here, you should take Vanny's exam and CP pass. If not, it's rigged. Are you kidding me?
Ow, 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 ow.
Did y'all hear me bark on the intercom last time?
Yes.
It's funny.
Nothing at all.
This map has no items. Red Cross is calling me.
Oh,
Bing. They're
Oh my
just
God, not even the
they're
locker.
after us because we didn't finish our milestones.
yeah. That was a different one.
That one fight is.
There's nothing.
nothing.
Hey, we still gotta play that one game
Which one?
from Roblox. I don't remember the name.
Mm.
It's just a dead end. They just want us to lose. It's over. There's
Yeah.
nothing here. Oh, we got Darth Vader over here. I mean, I got scammed. Here we go. Look, there's a very... Oh, there's upstairs. I'm going up the stairs. I'm trying to screenshot this. Bam. You should be scared of fishies. The koi fishies. Yeah, this guy got away at least over 20 kilograms. He can open the door. I'm dead. I got stuck in glue.
Just die, no.
I got stuck in the
Oh,
goop. My dinosaur suit.
And it
Who
just
put that
dances
goop
and
there?
sings. I'm in the same spot.
Benny could totally get a lot of loot, even though
Yeah,
there was nothing in there.
cause-
There was nothing for like 20 miles.
Yeah.
There was a rabbit. That's what I found.
It's
Ah.
Are you
Yeah.
alive? Hello?
Yeah, we'll reply. Yeah, we're live.
Even if you're finding the one
Better
I
stuck
reckon
in the
they're all
goop than goop in the stuck. That's true. I got stuck in the
Oh,
goop.
wait,
What
I
is
have-
that?
That's the guy that killed me.
They have a handgun? Wait, go back. I want to see that. Venny, go back. I need to see it.
Wall mounted one? Yeah, they're mostly wall mounted. If I remember, like my grandma's place.
You want to see the monster?
That's all we got. We only got 71.
Oh.
We have 2 more days. Actually, no, this is day. Yeah, 1 more day. 1 day.
Yeah, we can get
Or day
400 in
one.
day.
Y'all better bring home some good items out there.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
bring it home. We got you. We got you.
Yeah, we are. Uh-huh.
I'm carrying so many good
I
stuff
got
right now.
this one worth $200.
I got this dino suit worth like 32 bucks.
I have nothing.
It's okay.
I don't think
Benny's
they would
got
all
hers.
die. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You sure? Is he just gonna wait there and dab until?
It's gonna dab for 2 hours. We'll put you in the shame corner. I'm not
Oh,
in the
maybe
shame
he's trying to earn
corner.
money by dabbing.
If there's
I thought
anyone
the
who
thing
died,
was on the
please
bottom right.
out there.
Luca, thank you for the hydrate. How you doing? How was your stream earlier? Thank you for that, pets.
For 1 second, I
Thank
was-
you for shouting out, Luca.
Me too.
Luca, it's you.
Donkey.
But then I looked into your shirt and then
That was your donkey.
It's another Luca.
Oh yeah, I probably did.
Bam. Oh,
Should I really wait?
but no one saw that. Nobody
I wonder how
saw a
long it'll take
thing.
till Benny notices.
It's okay. I
Bald. Are
yes.
you bald? Hold on.
Something else.
no, not anymore.
Damn it! I missed the bald.
I'm trying to go back to the
He's
thing to.
bald, he's bald.
What? I can't press that button. That used to be redeemed. So you can put it in.
Lonely, lonely.
10 million points for bald. I'm just kidding. Bald. 4,000. Thank you. I did die. There you go. You got a new reward if you want me to be bald.
The funny part is Benny can't even see that
Come
redeem
for
either.
your pickle.
No, not my
Parties out
pickle.
there.
I've been balded. Thank you.
By that, I mean like the whole monster is.
Stream is good, not just working. Hope work's going well. Do you have any other plans for the rest of the weekend, Luca?
I think I can say they're dead.
No, we're alive,
Benny
Benny.
still has we're in a waiting room. He stole the pins. That's funny.
You do. You lurkers, but yes, no
There's a 69.
worries.
Wow,
Thank you
that's
for
impressive.
stopping in and hanging out with me. No, bye bye. We got so much loot.
You left us behind, Ben.
What the hell? I was still I was running towards the bus.
That guy with 2 shotguns. What?
That was me. I was the shotgun guy. I was pranking you. And then you ran
What
away.
with Tiny and
Yeah, that's me. I was a mouse form.
you turned to that guy?
Yeah. And you left us.
No, you're joking.
Yeah. I probably should do another one. We'll see. Got cleaning
Alright.
to do. Yes. Enjoy cleaning. I'll be cleaning up later too, actually,
To
this
lock in
weekend.
on this one. Grab and go.
We're locking
You
in.
need 300 to 85.
We only need.
We need a miracle.
Oh, we'll get a lot. What time you start?
Go, go, go.
Go get that laundry. Get that laundry. We gotta bring it back. Find all the dirty clothes. Go, go, go. Jenny, you find the poop
There's
bags.
nobody.
What?
What bag?
The poop bags. They're like $60.
Oop bag.
What?
Yeah, the one I found, the poop bag was like $50. There's no items. I'll come back. Benny, get the poop bags. Looks like they all went that way. I got $4. Okay. Oops. There you go. We can come back.
Hello? Anybody else? Oh, yay. Entrance.
A lot of money. Holy crap. Hey.
I have a friend.
Yeah?
Hi. Oh. I can't run that quick. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I would have died by now. I already know.
I've been chasing you for like 4 corridors. I was trying to see if you can see the box. I was chasing you through like 4 corridors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, we almost have enough. Let's go back in.
Let's go.
140. I didn't really get to explore the right side because there was still a lot of stuff.
Great.
I haven't even seen a single enemy. Walk back in and there's like 4 teddy bears. I'm going back to my side over here.
Go right side.
Yeah, this way.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you all this time.
Yeah, this way to the right.
I'm scared.
This way. I already explored that area.
Okay.
I ran into a wall.
Is the door?
Yeah, it's toilet paper.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, I went in that door before too.
What if I open it?
You'll get teleported.
Never mind. Watch
Oh, yeah,
out for the
I've been
mine.
through here already.
Okay, let's go back.
Hmm.
Well, it's perfect timing. You got a raid. Is that dinosaur suit?
Oh, fun. Rar.
Yes. Let's see. I don't know the way back. Watch out for the mine in the middle.
It was, yeah.
Watch out for the mine.
Oh.
It's in the middle. I'm going this way to see if there's more loot. Never mind, it's the same way I see.
Oh, jeez.
That way's the way back. If you wanna come. Oh, no, the way back's this way, this way, this way.
Oh.
Right here.
Which way is the way back?
This way, this way, this way, this way. If you wanna grab my stuff too, there's the exit.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
If you wanna get my stuff, I'll look
Okay,
for
I'm
more.
gonna take this stuff back then.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I go in this room. That was the wrong door. Damn. Wait, is this just the way back? It is. Right? It's not. Get me out of here. How much money do we have? We have enough. I will just sit here. Bum, 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 bum.
Having fun there?
Yeah. I don't know if it's been more than 5 minutes of me being bald, but I'll do 2 more on 140. Yeah. We got enough.
I think this is a mimic. If we both do it.
If we just don't talk.
Hmm.
What?
I wonder if they're even still alive.
Nah, they're still here. I believe in Luca and Vinny.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Vinny die, but
Hello?
I believe
Hey, fish.
we have enough. We did it. And Vinny's
Meet
dead.
quota, everyone.
We did that in 1 day. Why can't we do that the first day? Well, that's not Vinny.
Coming.
I'm out of here.
That's definitely not me.
Vinny, what happened? You're a
monkey
meme
again.
magnet. The monkey? The monkey?
Sorry, bunny.
You
Bunny,
can
bunny.
dodge his attack, you know?
I'm in bunny. Yeah, I just saw Luca juke the guy many times. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just have to dash as soon as he starts doing a smackdown.
Luca
Wait,
broke his
holy shit.
ankles.
Oh, wait.
Or if we sell everything, we have like stuff.
Stop.
I'm your
We will
cheerleader.
release. Just see another day.
And at the daytime, is throw everything on the toilet.
It's enough. Yeah, it's enough. Can leave.
What?
It's enough.
We sell it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Do we want to sell stuff to buy stuff?
Oh yeah.
I have been
guess.
balling for too long.
No, not long enough. They balled.
Well, you spend more points on it. It's only 4,000.
500.
500.
Are we done here? Or are you selling literally everything?
How could you? Need a bald cooldown. Well, I mean, we can still sell more after we repair it. It's not. We can't sell anymore.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just repair it.
I'm gonna need a shower.
You don't want to watch our new thing be made? If you look up with the dinosaur, you can see the tongue wiggling back and forth, up and down. It's
You're
just
right.
That's funny.
it's just the mouth.
What am I looking at?
What am I looking at here? You dance with it. Dance with it too, and then just look up. You'll just see it inside of the mouth. And it's just going up and down. This is the new anti mimic strat. Dance right now with the dragon. That's great game physics.
That's funny. Wait, which one is it?
2.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
There you go.
He's sitting down as well.
You bopping. Do you guys want to buy anything?
Yeah. No.
How much we got? 51.
Wait, we have no more. We don't have anything else. We only have the dinosaur left.
No. No. Don't do it.
It's useful.
I mean, you can
No,
get the
let's
compass.
get
The
it out.
compass is $20.
It's
You want me to
for
sell the
puppies,
drag?
The compass to
dino?
get us home.
If you want a flashlight,
Not me.
we'll find more dinos.
Okay.
Goodbye,
Dino man. Oh, we can buy some
Safely see
flashlights.
However long this run goes, it's definitely one try, and then
And then we
we
try
won't
again.
try another. No, we won't try another run after.
And then it's Spelunkin 2 time. That's what it was.
Oh my god. We ready to go then?
We didn't even buy
Oh, we
anything.
didn't even buy a thing.
Yeah, we're ready to go buy stuff.
Flashlight. Oh,
Welcome
yeah,
in,
Raiders, let's
Raiders.
go. Welcome Raiders.
Welcome,
Show the dinosaur
Raiders.
thing. Show the dinosaur. Wait, you sold it.
It's
Wait.
too late. We sold it because we thought we were ready.
Welcome Raiders.
the
Oh
hell?
my god, why are you dancing like that? Can everybody do that?
Wait, how's
Don't
it
worry
when I
about
do this?
Don't worry about it. This is how I do my jumping jacks. It helps my back out.
Wow, welcome. How are you doing? How was your stream? Last time I was looking on your stream, you were fixing on a VTuber model. Thank you for the resub, Genjo. Yeah, I saw Fawa. Luca was doing this. It looks crazy to me.
You're throwing it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our mating dance.
Think we're on the 4th day.
Hello, Shova. Welcome in. Yeah, I was looking to that one. Wow. But I don't know what you were streaming
Belief.
before this. Hope you had a good one. I was doing model prepping and head angle rigging for Flower. Nice. Yeah, I saw that bit. It was kind of like I was looking, making sure I was looking to some tabs and before I go to sleep. Anyways, I don't know what Luca's been doing. That's gotta break his neck for sure.
Other me.
Oh wait, who's this? Is this Daniel?
That's me. I've been waiting. Are you gonna buy something? We still got 72
We
bucks.
did. I did.
I'm gonna buy another one.
Well, we have room for the doggo if we want to.
I'm gonna buy the bat.
All good one.
Y'all need a
I
flashlight?
support you always.
A compass?
No, but I'm good.
It's so late.
Okay.
But I'm still okay.
There we go. I'm
First
ready.
run, of course. Ow. What was
I
that?
think we were missing one.
Wait. And then somebody bonked
Let's
me.
go.
I haven't
He's
seen
so
anything.
innocent. Look at him just standing there.
Oh, Multab. What's
Didn't do
happening?
anything.
I got bonked. Somebody bonked me.
Wait, what? A flashlight?
Nah, you were holding something. I know.
I only have a flashlight.
You just can't prove it. Let's go.
Okay, Detective Dokes. Whoa, look at that. Shiva.
Happy weekend, though. Get some rest if you
Happy
need to.
weekend. We need 700. 85 risks. Nice.
638.
You have the highest risk so far.
Look at this.
Thank you for the
A lot of
hydrate.
resource. But that.
Nice IQ. Thank you for the taco.
We're going
That's
with a lot
the
of
money.
maximum
The money.
danger.
The money.
Yeah,
More
for the money.
Money, 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 money.
I think that's the 3rd highest IQ today.
Alright, watch me die first.
Now.
Okay, I'll watch.
I clicked on Vinny's stream trying to play the game. Oh.
What the heck?
Nothing. Alright, I bought a flashlight. What am I doing? I didn't even use
I
it.
see 2 ducks at mine.
Dang it. What? I was gonna grab that.
You should have been quicker than that. It's a very tall ticketing machine.
What?
Hello?
Oh,
They're fake.
I think that's a fake one. Luca,
Yo, I think they're fake.
Which one?
help! Help me!
Oh,
Help me!
Oh my god, I'm out.
Why did nobody help me?
We're just gonna
oh
find
no.
some.
Oh no.
I am the dead.
No?
Luca wasn't even dead.
Nixon and Benny still
Oh
somewhere.
my god.
Would you say this is game? Yeah, it's kind of like Lethal Company,
Yes, it's me.
except if
Okay,
you
so
know
they're
the
fake ones, right?
the mimic Lethal Company mod where they use your
What was it?
voice. It's basically like that.
Huh?
We all have
What was
one
it? What was
outfit,
this
and then
one
they
that's on
use
the
your
way?
voice to talk to you, like that.
Yeah, that's a fake.
Except we know it was a fake, and but nobody had
We're
a.
getting on, we're leaving good. Alright, I'm outta here.
Well, you can use the rubber ducky to attack.
Huh?
Yeah, look, it's using my voice.
They can't.
I'm dead, but I was still
Killed
talking.
it, I killed it.
Actually, I'm in. It didn't disappear like usually do.
It is. Oh my god, no.
Oh, okay, okay.
No.
And then Lucas fighting a ghost over here.
Are you alive?
See, you see how Venny was in the air combo? He's here. That's a fake mimic talking in the speaker. Yeah, we're gonna be trying it out with a few people next week to see how many people can actually play.
Okay.
Here's the other Nixon. Oh,
It's fake.
I missed that. They killed somebody.
You got so many mines. He's really humping the
Oh,
ground.
his arms. Oof. Ow, that doesn't look comfy.
He's just doing yoga.
I don't think they can hear.
Oh,
we go.
what? I can take. Oh,
No, you
Never
can't.
there was a rubber duck.
Oh, yeah,
It
the
had the-
Fake
the-
people also
the
hold like
munchkin
fake
on it, so I
items
thought we could take it, but-
to like try and blend in more, and then when you kill them, when you try to pick up their
Really
items, they
good
like break
idea.
because they're fake.
Gets crazy. We're leaving.
Watch when we enter this.
It's the first time I died so early, so I can actually watch.
Oh well.
Okay.
Quiet
nothing
tonight.
so
Oh, I hear footsteps. Joe.
Oh, oh my god. Okay. Oh, that didn't. Oh, hi. You want to leave too? Okay.
Oh
I'm
my
surprised
God.
Joe lived there. I think it was still
Surprised they
targeting
didn't
Vinny.
attack me. Is there a
He
back
was
way?
just
There's gotta be
Looking
a back
down
way,
at
right?
you. Think so. Let's go.
You know where it's at?
Yeah, I think this game was only like $9. I got it for $5. It
It's
was
about
on
to rain
sale.
soon. Damn.
Oh.
And the roadmap, they're adding more like tram upgrades and more
I don't remember where they went, but it's
like
over
usable
that
items
thing, I think. Escape.
next month for December.
Okay.
And I think soon they'll have like public lobbies too. Yes, you need to get in next. We need more people to play with. I've only played it with like
Oh, yeah,
two
fix it.
groups.
It's gotta be. there was
And
a-
Joe and Benny
Yep,
are in
exchange
like
thingy
both
over
of
there.
both of the groups. But we only played like 3 times. This is our 3rd time, I think.
Hello.
Next, congrats on your score.
Oh. Uh-oh. There's a mimic over there.
But then I have no one to play with me. You have us. You can join us whenever we're playing. Oh, look how there's like more than
There's another
4. It's so you can't. That's actually Luca.
Oh wait. is it-
Venny's
wait,
killing him.
I can't tell. What
We
about
made
this?
quote.
Gotta be.
No. No.
That's what you get for friendly fire damage.
Where Oh my
Thank you.
God.
That guy's a fake
Wait, so
guy.
that Luca was a mimic?
No, that was a real one. You kept smacking him.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Really?
that was real.
Yeah, and there's an owl.
Yeah, he's going with this.
Joe is just going back and forth to these
I'm out.
enemies.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Jesus.
Yeah, we could play, Jenny.
I really? I actually smacked him?
Yes, you smacked him. He's one shot. Look at his health bar.
I know. That
He was
me.
saying that he was him. Now Joe is lost. Look what you did.
It was hard because I think his voice is muffled.
Yeah, he had to run through a thingy.
Ah.
Luke is playing guitar.
Okay, so you're going the right way. Keep going.
That guy's a fake one. That one's a fake one.
Yep, that's a fake one.
Oh my god, did you actually send her a message through that? Through a mimic?
No, my mimic was saying it.
Yeah, I know. He helped you there.
I know. I'm saying that she's the fake one.
Don't do it, Luca.
Do it.
Oh God. Okay.
Are you weird?
Are you?
Yes.
Oh God. I
Are
don't
they
know
living?
who's alive and who's not. I'm so scared. I think
Because I was
died.
killed. Because I was killed by you too.
Yeah, you were smacking him. You're about to get top damage
We
again.
weren't sure who was alive.
Yeah.
Lion just
Yeah.
said maybe
I'm
the
so
mimics were the
convinced
friends we
he's
made
fake.
along the way.
The mimics were the friends we made along the way.
Friendly fire.
Yeah.
Benny's here just murdering everybody.
So convinced that Luca was fake there.
Luca. It seemed like Luca didn't say anything for a long time. He just let Benny hit him, and then he's like, "Wait, no, no, no."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like, wait, 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 wait,
I don't know if you are weird.
Ah, okay.
Why didn't you guys save me? You guys had duckies. You could have smacked me.
Oh, only Joe had it.
Oh.
And she was a bit far.
But this is actually hurt you. Look how it's a squeaky. What?
Wow. Oh my God.
What was that?
Joe,
Luca?
I think Luca's dying.
That mic, what happened? You turned on your AI bot voice.
Alright, where'd you next?
The one with the more enemies.
Yeah, I have like almost.
I
I have
don't.
like 45% toxicity.
Yeah, that's why I brought these keyboards because they're only $4.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also get the guitar. That's $7, and the seat cover. You can sell to
Thing
get
with
the
just
juice.
One level of toxicity, we don't have to.
We won't survive the whole day. We need to get one at least.
Really?
It's fine. We still have 2
For
days.
More enemies then?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just mimics. Make sure to get your juice. Juice time.
It's okay.
I got 47. Nice.
Not the doggo.
There's a dog there.
40?
Did you not get juice?
I forgot. We'll do
Bruh,
that later.
that was the whole plan. What you mean?
But I can just use any of those cheap items, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna hug the right wall first.
Okay,
Look at
let's
that.
go this way.
I got a fish. I'm gonna leave the fish here in case I fall. It's the longest I've had to keep going. Oh my god, gold chains, I'm rich. Yeah, you're going right. I bloofed all the way into a circle.
No. Oh no.
Am I?
That one kept changing voice. It was Luca, Venny, and then Joe. Oh, we're halfway there. More than halfway.
Gonna die. I need that juice.
Where? Still more I didn't explore on this side. Gold chains. I think this just loops around. That's an owl. Okay. Anybody? I got a lot of money, I'm just gonna chill.
Hello? Say something. You're fake. Ow.
Got him! I'll wait till 18. We got money.
I can't believe you.
Hey, everybody
You know,
died.
Top friendly fire thing, didn't you?
What? It's not friendly fire. What happened?
Killed me.
What?
I was in that train.
I killed the mimic. What you mean? What happened?
That's no mimic. I was like, you're fake, and you don't even say a word. I thought you were legit.
What? What you mean? I said, what are you talking about? Oh, and then I started fighting it, and then I won.
You said none of that. I was just.
What
Well,
you mean? I was just defending our
You don't
train.
think a mimic could like dodge, like it push back and come back in to hit you again?
That mimic wasn't pushing
That's
back. It
not
ran. It would. It would just
No,
kept
like-
running at me.
You know, like dodging and hitting, dodging and hitting.
Yeah, they do that. I played these games before.
I thought you were just. That you meant that. You actually wanted to kill me, even knowing I was real.
You weren't real. You were an enemy.
Aw.
Ik moet zeggen,
Damn.
dat was mijn name is.
What? What happened?
You didn't say the password.
I ran into mine.
Okay.
Oh no.
We've all been there before.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Why are you choosing the one with the most everything when we only need like $30?
Oh, you're right. Okay, you're right.
Then he chose the one with maxed out stats. He wants us to lose. I still haven't seen a cone. A street
Going
cone.
strong.
I haven't seen a street
Oh,
cone in a
what is
while.
this one?
Like,
What's
what
the
level is
fuck?
This is a new map.
What the heck?
Whoa.
The mansion.
That's how I mentioned. It's the Halloween. It's a Halloween update. Remember, just do the right strat and you'll make it.
Wow.
The right strat?
Just hug the right wall. You want to live here? Well, I mean, preferably inside
We're
the
gonna get to
maze.
mansion, boy.
I don't know where this goes.
Oh, good. Go to the right side of the maze only. Okay.
Yeah, not just hug the right wall.
Right, right.
See, look at that. We're gonna make it to the back door. Secret
Oh my
entrance.
god, it's actually working. What? Hug the right and we're at the back door. What?
Okay, I think it'd be nice to have some flashlights.
Dang, it's so
Maybe.
dark.
We're in the basement. We have to go up to the actual main floor. Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, we've never been here before.
Nope, never.
I didn't even see the map.
Dang,
Oh,
so many
there's
doors.
mice. Your
Yeah.
family's here, Janja.
Yeah, this is usually where we are. With a bunch of nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing.
Sad.
Whoa, what's that?
Oh,
Oh, look down there.
okay. There's a hole.
There's a
Here are
fish.
the mice.
There's dumbbells.
Ooh.
I'm working out. Alexa, play House Tour by Sabrina Carpenter. It's house tour time.
Yeah.
Nothing there. Oh. And the fish spit in my face.
It's fine. But that's it. There's nothing else. How do we get out of here?
Yeah,
Get
there's
in.
no.
We must have missed the way somewhere else. Time to hug the right wall. Look at that. There's an owl.
Oh! Ah! Whoa.
Oh,
not
oh,
that
oh! Help me, help me, help me! It's too late. I have been dragged away. Wait, there's at least fire here. Where'd you take me?
Maybe he'll find the way to the main.
Hello? Hello? Over here?
Maybe. Oh,
I found the way. There's fire. There's upstairs this way. Watch out, the other
Well, we
guys.
can carry these items home, no?
Oh yeah, but I'm seeing if there's another way up this way. Where he's going. This is probably the main entrance, so we can
actually
find the main
got it?
entrance. I smacked him. I told you, you just have to smack him.
Can I smack with the dumbbell? I want to.
Nope.
I can't. I can't smack.
So Les, congrats on scoring. How
I
you
don't have any
doing?
to smack with either. Oh my god.
How the Arc Raider runs been? I saw you
Dude,
playing it
Joe,
before I
run
passed
this way.
out.
The other way.
He's been good. You got any good loot?
How did I do that? Hold on, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
happened?
Okay.
We're right here.
There was a statue, and it said rotate on it, so I did. And then it was a creepy owl. So I'm sorry. I might have activated.
Big owl? I do have an owl statue
Yeah.
with me.
A ducky.
Is it a mechanism?
Yeah, it was like a thing you had to rotate. I don't know what it did though.
Yeah, have any plans for the weekend, Celeste? I haven't explored this up in the upper floor. It's the library.
I wonder how Luca's doing.
There's a cuckoo
Luca,
clock.
where are you?
I have a wobble dog.
Oh god, I don't like that.
Says you?
Hello?
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 Okay.
Are you fake?
Luca?
Okay.
Yeah, okay doesn't mean
I
anything.
don't want to move. Yeah, but where?
Yeah, that's fake. That's a fake
Yep, he's fake.
I have
It's fake.
10,000 mind and...
one. Oh, I think we're rubber ducky.
Oh god.
Kill him.
And I don't know
No.
where
I got him. I got him. Ow, why are you hitting me?
Sorry.
What's wrong with you?
wait, sorry. I said sorry, didn't I?
Yeah, but you already hit me. Alright, we gotta
you go
find the
for
exit.
Is that y'all?
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's an owl behind us. We gotta go. Wait, there's another owl. Oh shoot. There's another owl. This
Oh my god.
this place is
Oh
full of
god, oh
owls.
god, oh god.
This is a dead end.
I
Um,
think that's what the statue did. Oh, where are you?
Right here.
Oh, there's another owl.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't touch that statue that says rotate. I
Okay.
think it activated all the owls.
How do we get out of here?
Oh my god, I
Uh,
can't even see anything. 'cause
this way,
stupid
this
fish
way,
is
this
spinning
way.
me.
There's an owl right there. There's an owl right here.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait, come this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Never mind, don't go this way.
What do you mean this way? Spencer, you're dead.
Oh
I thought
go back
we
down.
can go around him. Oh, Lucas is also here.
Oh,
The
Oh,
way down is
God.
where that owl was.
I
Maybe if
think
I
we
can
can
find
go.
the statue and unrotate. Oh my god.
We're on the. I don't. Do you still want to live here, Irie? In the house of
I was
owls.
thinking if I can find that statue again and rotate it again, maybe the owls will go away. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's what activated the owls.
No, I think they're just activated now.
Okay.
Yeah?
There's a party here.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they're like, what's that
Benny?
thing called?
Benny?
I do be the scariest thing living here. I mean, yeah. I mean, you just got a bunch of walking
Wait, that's not.
owls. Oh, Joe made the
Okay, I
way.
got no weapon.
Uh-oh. Benny.
Oh, what? That was a trap?
Yeah? What is that giant thing looking at
That
Luca?
was a trap?
Benny?
Do you see Lucas thing?
That was a trap.
No.
No, Joe.
A corridor full of guns.
But do you see that giant thing Luca was looking at?
you.
Giant thing.
What? You didn't see it?
Ooh, I don't want to push that.
I didn't look at
Yeah.
POV.
What, you were looking at his
We
POV?
can see it.
That
Facing it right
actually-
now. Oh, no.
Oh, I
It's
don't
that thing
think
behind
I
Joe.
I can't.
Oh, hey.
It's behind Joe right now.
Where?
Let's see.
Around that corner.
See. And this way. What do you mean this way? You're dead.
Oh, never mind. That's just him.
Yeah.
Luca got grabbed. Oh no, look at Luca. That thing.
Damn it.
You see what?
That-
The bunny?
No, inside the corridor. Look, Benny.
Yeah, I think it was like a guy standing in
Okay,
Okay,
but
Luca
slow
was
project.
alive.
That thing. You don't see that?
Yeah, I see
Oh,
it.
no.
And he's dead.
Oh my god, what
Oh.
is that?
It goes to when you're facing away.
Yeah, it's like the thing from Lethal Company. The spring
Yeah.
loader guys.
Oh.
I don't
Fit.
need the owl though.
I don't know either. Damn, we
the
only
owl?
needed $30 and we
Why
lost.
are
One
they
input.
everywhere?
Damn, Benny wanted us to lose so badly.
Crap.
Well,
We only needed $30. We got greedy in the House of Owls. What?
I said I forgot we only needed 30.
It's
I
okay.
swear the owl messed me up. Cause like everywhere I go, it's just there.
Yeah, we activated like their
Yeah.
trap and they all spawned in, and then whatever that big thing started chasing Luca down.
But we
Everything
have
starts
owl
chasing
statues
me.
around.
Well, I mean, it was Max enemies, and that was our
Don't know
first
what
time
the
being
owl
in that
statue
house.
does. I wonder if we have the item up and then just face it at them, it'll act like as a, I don't know, a crucifix, and they won't hit us.
I don't know. I wanted to bring
I had an old statue and it made old sounds.
maybe we stole it and that's why it's angry at us.
Maybe it was.
Did
Or
y'all
we
see
had
the
to put it
statue I was
somewhere else.
talking About, though?
Yeah, the one on the ground. I pressed that
The
again.
owl statue that you turned?
Yeah, I rotated that again, and then the thing spawned behind me. I got pronked.
I thought you
Okay,
can
so we
grab
don't
it.
touch that, I guess.
I haven't kept it in my.
No, that
inventory.
one only spun around.
Yeah, it wasn't a pickup item. It was just
Yeah.
to interact with it.
What did I grab it?
That was the
Really
thing on the
nice
ground.
statue. Ah.
That one was not. Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh.
I wasn't even doing it. I was just standing.
Well, I'm calling it here. It's like.
What are you
I would
calling?
say, You know, we could go for a long run.
Who are you
Just
calling?
one run.
Ghostbusters.
My bad.
Hey yo.
Almost 4 a.m.
And it's okay.
What? It's only 11:40 a.m.
It's only 2:40.
Right.
What you mean?
Good morning.
Yeah, I think you know what time it is.
What is?
time is it?
It's time for spelunking time. Alright then. Y'all still going or we all raiding? Quintuple raid.
Apple raid?
I can still go for a little bit if y'all don't want to do something, but
I think I'm with Vinny here.
Alright.
My bed's calling.
You deathmatch.
okay.
Alright.
Thanks for the game, y'all.
Thanks
Good
for the
game, guys.
gamins. Next up,
Four games.
we're playing Bear together in the next episode.
That would be so scuffed.
It's fine. But where are we going now?
Our coordination, our lagginess.
It was only you who was lagging. We were all fine.
Well, sorry for living far away. Y'all are living in the
Just-
same country.
Just move closer.
Luca is in the States, yep. He moved in with us.
Let's all get a gamer house. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's go.
maybe in like 5 years when I'm rich.
Okay.
Wait, hit me
Clip
up
it,
though.
chat. Clip it.
Clip it.
Clip it and show it to me in 5 years.
And I quote.
Thank you for the alert, Toya.
Good morning, Fiamma. It is 4 a.m.
Good morning. Fiamma, why are you awake?
Why are you awake? How about that?
Who are
It's a secret stream.
Yeah, nobody.
What we going to? Any special events from you
I'll let
guys?
lead the way. I do.
I don't have any special events. That's why I'm asking you guys.
I'll unmute Discord.
Oh yeah, I should probably unmute you guys on Discord.
We can go with that.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Me.
I just tried to unmute myself. There we go. Alright, where are we going, guys?
Wait, I'm muting Discord. You're caffeinated? Like Nien too? What? Why y'all taking coffee this late?
It's time for
4 p.m.
coffee. Actually, I should get some coffee.
What kind of coffee?
PCG Ultraman?
I
Damn.
have no idea.
You got this, Fiamma. I don't know if you're learning, if you're studying for like a competition.
No, I was forever dabbing. Yeah, I need coffee. I'm about to pass out. I'm about to eepy. And I'm supposed to be playing another game soon.
Grandpa,
What are you gonna play?
drinking coffee.
Think Peak?
Blunky too.
The game of the year? You know, Peak?
Mm,
Heard that before.
Hey, what happened to my background?
Are you still going then, or are you just gonna stream again when you...
I'll just stream again because I don't know what time we're starting.
Oh, gotcha.
Peak? Nien, have you played Peak? Peak game of the year. It is game of the year.
I love Peak. I haven't tried any of the new biomes.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm playing it today.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that like jungle one or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
the
haven't
desert
tried it
too, which
either.
is an older one.
The desert's been out for
I
a
haven't
while.
tried
though.
that one. Yeah, well,
I only
I
did the
guess
desert,
we're
like,
doing
once or
Peak
twice.
collab on Thursday with 20 people.
Oh my god.
oh my god.
I mean, it's fine because if everybody spreads out, then you're nobody's gonna be bunched up until you get to the top.
The problem will be the FPS.
Ah, it's fine. It's fine. It's Peak.
No, I
20
did,
main Peak.
I did it Sunday with a group of people, with 20 people.
See, it's
and I
perfectly
did
fine.
20 people?
Yeah,
You played Peak with 20 people?
that's just content machine right there.
Yeah.
Mushroom Forest. I thought that was already out.
That's my place.
Exactly. Oh, so where are we going?
But you never
Benny,
been
fix
there,
something.
Joe? What?
No.
You don't have anybody?
Rating.
Well, someone I follow is playing Mimes.
Close enough. Let's get it.
What's the raid message?
Are you real?
You.
And then cheese.
Don't know who this person is playing with. But anyway,
There's the raid message.
only person playing this game.
And then what's the person's name?
Yeah, I sent it on Discord.
And this is who we're raiding. Damn.
We're searching now? I mean, we're hitting the raid now?
I mean, I just typed in their name.
/raid. Okay.
Vampire cat.
Wait, wait,
I gotta hide.
Trying to get him.
I gotta hide. They're gonna eat me.
I know I am. I think our imagination.
What's wrong with cat?
Damn, look at that jump scare. I still haven't played that game. The Quarry. There's nothing wrong
The
with it.
Quarry? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
the game
what-
where the same devs that played that did the
Yeah,
the one we played together.
yeah.
Ah, I think.
But the clip is what showed the Quarry.
I already
Wait,
hit the
Rose-
raid though.
Oh, you already left?
No, not left. Like
Oh, I already did too.
it's activated. Ah. Well, if
Yeah,
you
Y'all
let me know when
hit
you're
it
ready.
at
are
the same
almost
time,
the
let me
same
know.
time. Mm-mm.
If y'all want to hit it at the same time, let me know.
No, you count down.
Yeah.
Also,
Raid,
thank you, chatters, for being here, watching us playing the game.
Thank you for all the lurkers. People came by.
everyone.
Have a good weekend. If we don't see you, or if I see you in like 10
I'll copy
minutes,
the
bye
cheese
bye.
message. What?
I'm probably gonna go live in 10 minutes.